And they shouldn't be tested. They should win. They got the best team. They haven't used their depth the right way, because the one advantage we had in '92, and they still have today. When they go to their bench, they're bringing in better players. He has not used his team properly. We should never be a debate on guys getting to play and not getting to play. Listen, you can't. Putting Jason Tatum in an NBA game, he's going to be better than 99% of the guys already in the world, but especially guys who coming from a foreign country. So you just kind of keep your guys on a treadmill and keep them rolling around.
Okay, so there, the criticism of Steve Kerr, the rotations. Wendy, what do you make of what Charles Barkley had to say?
Said about the U.S. should win and the U.S. has better depth. Those are true statements, but I just don't agree with Charles when he says it's not fair to expect them to be tested. Absolutely, you should expect them to be tested. One of the big storylines that's been happening here in Paris for a few weeks is Joel Embiid has been getting booed just about everywhere he goes in Paris. Why? Why is he getting booed? He is getting booed because the French and the Americans both went after him and he chose the U.S. Why did the U.S. need him? Why was it so important that the U.S. needed him? Because our margin for error is razor thin now. We are now chasing naturalized citizens because we need the talent, because the talent in the world is so comparable. And the wolf is at the door. They've got 10 players averaging between 16 and 22 minutes. He's using the depth. Not only that, it's been the five-man swap-outs with the second unit that have been the difference. In the first couple of games of the Olympics, it was the second unit that won the game. Against Serbia last time around, the first unit against Jokic was even. It was the second unit that outscored the Serbians 29-3. I just don't think that Charles is on the right page here. And I'll also say this. When the U.S. won the game yesterday and they made that run, they did it because they were playing international FIBA-level basketball. When I was talking to USA basketball officials after the game last night, they were so proud of the victory and so proud of the way all of their guys stepped forward. But they were mostly proud that they won it playing the international game. If you watch that fourth quarter, if you can go back and watch it, it was high physical defense, full court pressure, using the bumping that they allow. That was not an NBA game. So many times when USA basketballs got under pressure, they fall back to the NBA game, and sometimes it bails them out, and sometimes it doesn't. They played FIBA basketball, and that's what Steve Kerr has been training them for the last month. They responded to the game plan and the training and delivered. They won that game, because Steph hit some threes. Because Durant made some big shots. They won that game with physical defense. They wouldn't be allowed to play defense in the NBA that way. And Steve Kerr and the rest of the coaching staff got them ready for it. And as far as playing 12 guys, what league in the world does 12 guys work? What league? Demonstrate to me. You don't play 12 guys in high school. You don't play 12 guys anywhere. And in a 40-minute game, show me the league where 12 guys works. The only time it works is when you're 40 points better than the opponent, what the Dream Team was in 1992. There is no team that's 40 points better anymore. It's not a character flaw. It's just reality.
Well, it's a really interesting point you bring up, Wendy, because Serbia shot 50% from three for the first three quarters of that game. And to your point, in that fourth quarter, they were 0 for 9. So the D certainly stepped up in that fourth quarter. Perk, I want to hear from you here. What were your thoughts on what Charles Barkley had to say about Team USA's victory against Serbia?
Hey, look. Charles Barkley, one of the greatest power forwards to ever play the game of basketball, one of the greatest players to ever touch the damn basketball, and look, one of the greatest TV personalities ever. But this was just an asinine way of talking about Team USA and what's been going on for us them representing our country. Look, this team has been balling, and they are going to get battle tested, right? The game has become global. Right, you got Europeans. They're starting to catch. They have caught up with us. When you think about who Team USA had to battle against yesterday, Jokic is the best player in basketball. Right, they had to find a way to grind it out. They earned that win. That was the best game that I've seen in basketball in the last 6 or 7 years. To be honest with you, the physicality was there. You had to get the best out of the OGs, is what I call it, up another notch when it came down to him and matching the physicality. Again, Wendy told me this about a month ago when I was the first one to start, or about a couple of weeks ago, when I started criticizing Steve Kerr for not playing Jason Tatum. And it's fit over star. At this point, Steve Kerr, Ty Lue, Eric Spoelstra, and the rest of the coaching staff has done an outstanding job with Team USA in the rotations. The bench has been phenomenal outside of yesterday's game. And so when you think about what Steve Kerr and those guys have to battle, it's not about the name on the back of the jersey. It's the name on the front of the jersey. And now we, as our country, is one win away from getting the gold medal. See, Steve Kerr is doing his damn thing right now.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And I got to hear from you, Courtney, on your thoughts on what you thought from Charles.
I think it's disingenuous to say that he has not used this team properly. And Perk, to your point, the criticism that Steve Kerr received for not playing Jason Tatum in the opening game against Serbia, like he said, he felt like an idiot for not doing that, for leaving him on the bench, for leaving a first-team All-NBA player as a DNP. I don't know how he could have watched the first 3 quarters of this game last night, realizing, okay, Serbia is 15 of 30 from downtown. Anthony Edwards and Devin Booker were allergic to defense. Derek White was struggling. From everything that we've seen from Jason Tatum throughout the Olympics, he struggled offensively. But you can't tell me you couldn't have used his switchability, his ability to guard on the perimeter at some point in there. That's an issue. And what I don't like, and he's already said this morning, is that they're not going to change anything with these lineups, that they are going to continue going forward with this group that they have. That, to me, is a concern when you have somebody who is an X factor, who is a contributor, who is one of the best players in the NBA, not playing any sort of role in these games. It got way too close for comfort. They got bailed out by 4 MVPs in the fourth quarter. And what Kevin Durant told us, I think, Wendy, it was your interview with him afterwards, that they ended up not running not many plays in the fourth quarter. They were playing AAU-style basketball, going off of body language, getting out in transition, relying on their defense, not really relying on the coaching in those moments. Two things can be true here. Steve Kerr has done a tremendous job, in a thankless job, with Team USA, and he mismanaged the first 3 quarters of this game yesterday. I think that both things can be true within there without completely raining on all the good things that he has done as a coach within Team USA so far.
Okay, Wendy, give me your response to that, because is there any concern here with the gold medal game in France coming up?
Well, there's always concern when you're playing the host country on their home court. Yeah, for sure. You obviously respect the opponent. I do think it's fair to say that maybe the Tatum could have been used yesterday on the perimeter D, but I also think you have to look what was going on in the game. Really what happened in that game yesterday, Steph Curry's incredible shooting at the start of the game threw the team off. I know that sounds crazy, but they lost their focus. They got sort of wrapped up in what Curry was doing, and they didn't go with their normal rotation. They didn't go with their 5 in, 5 out because Curry was so hot. Steve Kerr left him out there. It's not a commentary on Jason Tatum as a player. It's the math. The math of what they need to do as a team doesn't necessarily work to have the 11th man. And so he made a value judgment that Jason Tatum was not going to be in the rotation. And if you want to slap him on the wrist for that and say, bad boy, well, then you can knock that off. But what about the other 10 things that he's done to get this team going? Why is that the lead? I honestly think people are looking for something to criticize because that's what they do. And if Team USA doesn't win by 40, it's going to criticize. And if it wasn't for criticize, if he had played Tatum and they also had won this way, they'd have found something else. I think that's the nature of being the Team USA coach. He understands that, and that's what we're doing here today.
All right, Perk, I'll give you the final take on this one. Of course, the gold medal game against France coming up.
Look, everyone is criticizing Steve Kerr for not running the offense, but why in the hell would you have to run the offense? And it was a prime example last night. When you have Kevin Durant, when you have Steph Curry, when you have LeBron James, we're talking about 3 guys, in my opinion, that are top 15 greatest players of all time sharing the floor together. You don't have to run offense with that IQ. You don't have to run offense with that shot-making ability. And look, could Steve Kerr have found minutes for Jason Tatum? Absolutely. But look, at this point in time, he can't get caught up in people's feelings or trying to cater to one individual. Let me tell you who's been an unsung hero throughout this entire tournament. It has been Devin Booker. Devin Booker has been phenomenal. Devin Booker was in the game yesterday when it mattered the most, and he played his role to a T, sliding, getting over screens, holding his corners, spacing the floor, doing everything that he needed to do to be a star in his role to help the team win. At the end of the day, Team USA is undefeated. They haven't lost one game since the Olympics started. And now they're about to go beat the brakes off of France here in a day or so. And, I mean, what complaints do we really have? That was just beautiful basketball yesterday. That was the best game I've seen in the last 5 to 7 years.
Yeah, you listen, Perk, you hit it. I mean, when you come together for a team like this, you got to check the ego at the door. So that means maybe some guys are not going to play. And for as much as we say this is your young man's league, as you pointed out, the 4 OGs, the 4 MVPs were the ones who got it done.